If you're enjoying Pigoted Podcast, then why not sign up to our Patreon? You can find it at patreon.com/pigoted, and on there you get loads of extra benefits, such as early access to episodes. You get access to Pigoted Extra, which is extra content from our guests, usually about 45 minutes to an hour long of extra content every single week. You get merchandise, you get to ask questions, you get to be part of our Discord community. We have a Discord server where people chat and ask questions and discuss topics that have been brought up on the podcast. You get all that through Patreon, and it starts from just £3 a month. Plus, you'll be supporting the podcast. You'll be helping the podcast to grow, helping us to fund bigger and better guests and to pay for all the editing and that kind of thing. So please, if you are enjoying Pigoted, then think about signing up and becoming a Patreon from just £3 a month over at patreon.com/pigoted. Welcome to Pigoted Podcast. Joining us today, we have 0 comics and 2 experts, although you have done comedy before, Kat.
I've done a little bit of comedy.
You've done a little bit. You've dabbled your toes in the world of comedy,
Yeah.
but maybe...
So's Jamie. She's done a little bit of comedy too.
99% expert, 1% comedians.
50-50 split, I think.
Really?
I'm
Did you go that
hilarious. Excuse me, I am hilarious. I just don't get paid to do it.
Well, the proof will very much be in the pudding this afternoon. We're going to mix it up. We're going to have 2 experts, and I'm going to be the only idiot, and we're going to see how it works. We have Kat Ford, who you may remember from previous episodes, pilot episodes, and facial bias episodes. Hi, Kat.
Hello.
And we have recurring guest Dr. Jamie Benjamin.
Hiya.
Who we will know from the what was it called? Fucking Love Island and Married at First Sight and shit. How they use
The mechanisms
science
of attraction.
The mechanisms of attraction. What are we talking about today?
We are talking about the evolution of sex.
Yeah, mate. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things. I've just lost my YouTube royalties.
Yeah. You got to cut it after like 3 seconds.
That's it.
That's the
YouTube copyright now.
I don't think that was a close enough approximation for you to get done on copyright.
I think that was a perfect approximation. Do you know I've just actually been monetized on YouTube?
Congratulations.
Yeah, mate. I'm really happy about that.
You're working for the man.
It's an extra $4.17 in my bank account every month. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird that, so you've only just got monetized, and so you've got more money coming in, and this is the first time you haven't offered me a coffee, like a paid for coffee. Especially because, this is the biggest favour I've done for you. Because clearly you're in a pickle, because I didn't get invited onto this until 8:30 last night.
This is capitalism.
So I'm feeling really special. I've got fucking Povo coffee. And I got asked on last minute.
I was going to surprise you with a back rub.
No, you weren't.
No, I wasn't.
Also, that wouldn't be a nice surprise. That would be...
How mixed messagey is that? Hey, do you want to come on a podcast about sex and have a back rub?
No,
I think I'll...
Mixed message, that's a very clear message.
Yeah.
Let's talk about sex, and while we do that, I'll give you a back rub.
And knowing Kat as I know her, I think the text message back would be, I think I am going to sew up my vagina instead. I think I'm just going to sew it up with a needle and thread.
I would never do that to my fanny.
Would you not?
No. I'm not going to go down that route.
Not even for Halloween?
No. What? Under what scenario does that make sense?
What have you gone as this year? I've gone as FGM.
I was going to say, that's why I'm not going down this route.
That's slightly different.
It's very different, but
yeah.
This is why we have our legs crossed.
Cool. Do you know what? It's strange now because with 2 experts, I felt the need to be as bad as 2 comics. And so immediately, 3 minutes in, I'm like, yep, come on, let's derail this shit.
Yeah.
So talk to me. Let's go right back on track. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the evolution of sex. So we are going right back to the beginning. Adam and Eve.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
They're in the Garden of Eden. Mm-hmm. They're chilling.
Yep.
Now, God has given Adam a cock, and he's given Eve less pay. And I'm going to get the fucking shit kicked out of me today. So I don't even know what I'm saying.
Yeah, neither do I.
No.
Yeah,
No.
what? Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you wanting to
When you
like
talk,
get
what,
into
what is the beginning of sex? Like,
Sorry, I get really excited. Like,
okay, I love the little dance you're doing.
Right, I get flappy. No, this guys, I haven't read it yet, but a new study has come out that's like about the origins of sexual reproduction. Like, might have happened in Scotland in a lake with something that looks like a horseshoe crab. Kat, did you read this? Please, no.
Are you talking about the Loch Ness monster?
Oh God, that's
Sorry,
amazing.
can we just
Look,
unpack?
Kelly and Bembe, really,
So
back
it's
in
gonna-
Africa.
it's gonna
And all life originated in Africa. We know
Can we?
that.
Can we just unpack what you've just said?
We can try.
The origins of sex.
Yeah.
Originated in Scotland. I mean, that's a fucking surprise in and of itself because it's like, as a country full of some of the least sexy people I've ever seen in my life.
Rude.
So sex obviously predates humans.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So so are we talking about like the evolution of sexual reproduction?
Yeah.
As opposed to asexual reproduction, which is
Exactly.
like when
Wait, what's asexual reproduction?
Ooh, like parthenogenesis and
parthenogenesis, yeah.
Stop saying big words.
words. Okay,
Basically. Do you,
No,
Right.
by all means.
Dumb it down for me as
something
though I'm
like
four.
bacteria
Right, bacteria.
or amoebas, they don't have sex to reproduce.
Okay.
They just do mitosis and
Oh!
turn from one thing
Mitosis.
into two copies.
Is mitosis
Hang on.
something to do with
Is
osmosis?
it mitosis or meiosis?
It is mitosis is the splitting of two cells.
Yeah.
So eventually you have these two cells. Well, you have one cell, and it just kind of copies and grows to the point that it.
It has double of
Pops.
everything.
So how does it do that? It just does it.
Enzymes,
Yeah.
mRNA, like
Okay.
The thing.
zipping and unzipping of DNA.
Like,
There's a lot of just
There's
stuff
a lot.
happening.
okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, but basically,
But
like
it's what
the
your
thing.
skin does. Like that's because you.
Is that what eczema is?
It's
like
more
you-
like what cancer is actually.
Yeah, the
like in a
cells
weird way. So
start-
cancer is when your cells copy and replicate to the point of like breakdown.
It's not quite that. It's more that so regimented cell death stops. That's what the issue is. So all of your cells will like grow and then die, and it'll usually get like metabolized properly.
Okay.
But with cancer, the cells don't die when they should.
Right.
So they grow and grow and grow,
okay.
but there isn't like the right amount of death happening.
Yeah.
See, this
So
is-
to put it in the
I think I'm
to
not
put
a
it in the
cancer
language
scientist.
that I understand,
Mm-hmm.
you're taking the bins out, but no one's picking up the garbage, and so the garbage is just overflowing until the point where it becomes a tumor.
Sure.
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, I'm not a cancer scientist,
Yeah, we
so
are
like
not
I'm
oncology
sure
people.
we're gonna be.
And I'm
like,
I'm not a bin man, so we're all stretching.
okay, then what is that smell? If you're not a bin man,
That is the smell of a man that is saving the planet by conserving water.
right?
There you go.
Well done. I have to say, so Kat and I have been friends for eons, and the fundamental like basis of our friendship is Jamie will say something, and then Kat will correct her to be more accurate and exact because I will be very simplistic and very symbolic.
I was
and
literally about to say, is that always the case though? It's just like, because sometimes you do correct me. You're being inaccurate in your description of our friendship.
I feel like that has evidence. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aww.
I know, aren't we adorable?
So when you talk about the evolution of sex, then what's the very first bit that we analyze? Like, where does it begin? So forget about like cells splitting into other cells in Scotland or whatever.
Yeah.
When does it begin in terms of like when can we start from? Or is it easier to just start now and work backwards?
It depends on what species we're talking about. So, like, sex is not straightforward because even something like whiptail lizards, right?
Even something like whiptail lizards.
Exactly. Like everybody loves whiptail lizards. For those of you not in the know, for like the 2% who don't already know this information.
Okay.
So for most species, there is a male and a female, but that's not always the case.
Seahorses.
No, they still have males and
and
females. They just, the roles have switched slightly.
Right, okay.
Well, no,
I knew that there was something
still
about...
carries the eggs. The male still carries the sperm,
But the male, like,
carries them through
gestates it.
gestation.
Yeah.
I knew that there was something with seahorses. That's why my brain went to say that
the male
word.
gives birth, but it's still considered the male because it's the one with these smaller sex cells that are more mobile.
Yeah, and I don't remember if they have Ys or X's, not Ys or X's, Ys or Zs, because there's more than 2 sex chromosomes. It's a level of biology that's actually above me.
So
I stick with X and Ys because humans.
So
Yeah.
in terms of like most creatures on the planet, there is a male and a female.
Most sexually reproducing, because most creatures, there's probably a lot more asexual reproducing creatures than sexual.
Okay.
Also, there's a surprising amount of hermaphrodites out there.
Yeah,
Okay.
huge
Slugs.
amounts.
Slugs are hermaphroditic, aren't they?
They are, but they both
Sorry,
become...
you can't.
Sorry.
Right,
See, like-
you both can't just drop slugs or hermaphrodites.
Oh my God,
as like it's a thing that
slugs.
everyone knows.
Okay, leopard
Slugs
slugs.
have innies and outies.
Really?
So they have winkles and hoo-hoos.
Really?
Right?
Oh, not only that, but like they have... Let me backtrack to whiptail lizards,
Okay,
and then I'll
carry
go
on.
on
Then
to,
we'll get
to,
onto-
to
then we'll
leopard
get on
slugs.
some slugs,
Oh my
yeah.
God, leopard slug sex. Great. And snail sex? Ooh. Anyway.
Most animal sex is actually brilliant and disgusting at the same time. Like, like
You're on it.
Well, like human sex as well, actually. Like, it's great, but it's fucking gross if you think about it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you never thought about it and been like, this is
I have
fucking
actually
disgusting.
thought about how animals fuck each other. Like, like for example, like, you know, giraffes.
Yes.
Right. So I can imagine that the only way a giraffe can fuck is to mount another giraffe.
What's a giraffe's favourite bit of foreplay? Necking. I thought that on the spot.
Well done.
So-
Do you want to know what the giraffe's actual favorite amount of foreplay is?
As if you know. As if
See,
you know.
sometimes you correct me.
Please tell me that it's 69 and
No.
I just think that'd be really funny.
Actually, what the male giraffe does is he tastes the female's urine to tell whether or not she's ovulating.
Oh, yeah, I did know that.
Oh, that's gross.
Nothing I say surprised her.
But I'd imagine, right, that the way that a giraffe's fuck is you have a giraffe just minding its own business.
Yeah.
And then the
no.
male giraffe mounts it. But you're very high up at that point. So I would imagine that there might be cases where the giraffes have accidents and then fall and die and hit their heads.
I imagine it's really relative, though, because they are very tall. So
Can I just say, I have really not thought about how most animals fuck, and this is going to be amazing. And also, I have just come up with a great idea for a new zoo.
Go on.
Okay.
Sex zoo. So what you do is you take the animals, right, and this might be unethical, but you ply them full of Viagra. Does Viagra work on all animals or just humans?
Viagra is a vasodilator. It's not an aphrodisiac. So...
Right, okay. So we need to get them turned on in the first place.
You
Play
need a lot
loads of animal porn.
Barry White.
In this zoo. And already, I know what you're thinking, that'll bring them in, right? On its own. But loads of, so they're in like, there's loads of screens and stuff of like say it's the giraffe enclosure, you know, they're using that big tongue to like, eat a passion fruit or something like that.
Delicious.
And then you can watch animals fuck all day and learn something.
I mean, that's not too far off from actual research.
What?
Oh, sorry, this is one of those weird moments. Okay, so we have a lot of those around me. No, because pornography exists, but we can actually see a lot of sexual responses to pornography. So if you take things like plethysmographs and female plethysmographs, so they don't actually measure arousal, but they are used to measure arousal, and you can actually see that females will have an arousal response to watching others have sex, partly because it's kind of like a priming mechanism where if they're having sex, I might be next.
Preheat the oven.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. So it's part of the reason that we just have pornography is that if those two bonobos are over there are having sex,
Yeah.
then it's mating season. Bring
get me
the
on
games.
gas mark 6.
Yeah, and so even though like you
Fan
might,
at 170, 20 minutes in, pizza's done.
Yeah.
20 minutes actually,
It's
the pizza
one
will
of the
be
things
burnt.
that I think is a really important thing to know about women in general is that they will become physiologically aroused while not being psychologically aroused. So a lot of people will sort of take that. Basically, if they get their hand in there and it's wet, they'll go, oh, she's up for it, and ignore that she's saying,
I see.
I don't want to do this.
I see.
It's protective, basically.
Right.
because reproduction is not always a choice.
Yeah. And if you're
okay.
very dry, it's going to hurt more.
Well, I have a...
Dark turn.
Very dark turn.
I thought up until right now, this second, that both of these things had to be...
No.
Both your brain
Absolutely
and your
no.
fanny had
There's-
to be in sync in order for it to work.
There is such a massive disconnect
Yeah.
between them. And it's not just women, it's men too. So like there was one study that showed, hardcore heterosexual men who have no interest in other men, homosexual porn.
Yep.
And even though their genitals were, engorged with blood and they were physically aroused, their brain was not. Like
when you say engorged,
so
they weren't erect.
Slightly. So there's this thing called a plethysmograph, a penile plethysmograph. There are two types.
Straps around your dick.
Yes. So there's the volumetric and the circumferential. The circumferential is basically like a rubber band where it can measure a change in the penis's circumference. The volumetric is kind of this chamber that measures the amount of air displacement. So it's
like a fleshlight but you flop it in flaccid.
Right.
And then it'll measure how much air gets forced out
My
as
thing
your dick
was
starts taking up
my
more
thing
space.
was going to be my thing was going to be like a chastity cage with like an air pressure pump at the end.
Also,
yeah.
you're on the right track.
That's amazing. That's absolutely incredible.
So yeah, you can show, heterosexual men, and this is how we know that there are different sexual orientations out there, because the amount of physiological arousal that people experience to different stimuli will vary depending on what stimuli they are looking at.
Okay.
So a heterosexual man will become more aroused looking at women, but that doesn't mean he's not aroused by looking at men.
Really?
Yeah, if a heterosexual man is watching gay porn, he will, to some ever minor extent, become aroused, just because, again, there is a primal...
Sex is happening.
Sex is happening.
Do you know what? This is so interesting because I did a gig this weekend in Shepshed in Leicestershire, where I was comparing, I was talking to somebody in the front row. It was this guy in his 50s, and he was very what's the word? Gammony, I think.
Right. Okay.
You know what that means?
No clue.
It's he is a person who. How do you even explain?
How do you explain Gownie? So, white middle-aged man gets angry about stuff that isn't real, like.
Also, sort of
they care disproportionately about weights and measures.
Straight, and thinks that that's the natural way to be, and would not like it questioned.
I can show you so many gay animals.
So, well, here's the thing, right? So I asked him. I was like, "Have you ever thought about sucking a dick?" And he went, "No," and I went, Fuck off. I mean, you must have thought, like...
At
the very least, you've tried to suck your own dick.
Well, I'm a straight man.
That requires a level of flexibility that not everybody even thinks that's
you can still try. Well, yeah, not everybody.
I've never tried to suck my own dick.
Really?
It requires...
Well, because the thing is I know how much issue I have tying my own shoelaces.
Right, yeah.
I just feel like it's like, it's like me looking at a mountain and going, I wonder what it's like at the top of Everest. It's like, I know I'm never going up there.
But if I say don't think of elephants, automatically elephants in your head. So have you ever thought about sucking a dick? No. Bullshit. You did just now.
But I've also thought as well, like I've considered it before in the past, but I've just thought, imagine that. Like, I've not been sat at home going, oh, there's nothing on Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to suck a giant cock right now. I'm not thinking like that. I'm just thinking like, if I'm getting a blowjob, then
What's
at
that
some
like?
point I've gone, that's,
Wonder what that's like.
I wouldn't put that in my mouth. And I know where it's been. Do you know what I mean? Like, but he was like, no, absolutely not. No. And it was just like, refused to engage with it. And I thought, well, surely everyone's considered it.
Yeah, it's at least crossed your mind. You've probably not spent a lazy Sunday afternoon lying in a hammock going, like, what would a dick in my mouth feel like?
Although if you were thinking about that, a hammock is the place where you would lie.
Yeah.
Like, definitely. That seems like the sort of, a hammock seems like the sort of place to lie
You're
and question
super
your
relaxed.
sexuality, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I
I'm
can
in a
tell you.
hammock.
So there's a wonderful graph that I have in my head, and shame on me for not bringing my slides with me. Like,
Also,
really,
this is going to be great podcast material.
That's the problem.
Here's a graph I have in my head.
yeah, but that's the thing. It's like, is that as an expert, you always, here's the data,
Okay.
and then I have to explain
Okay.
it.
Well, very quickly, talk to me about what's on the x-axis.
The x-axis is attraction for women,
Okay, and the y-axis.
attraction for men.
And what is the difference between the x and the y-axis? Because I don't know.
So what we see is that
I mean,
men,
like, what's up and what's across?
what's up and what's across. Oh, so for the gist is backtracking. What we see is that men are a lot more clustered in whether or not they are heterosexual or homosexual. They are a lot more rigid in the
Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, whereas women, if you look at their relationship of how attracted to men are you versus how attracted to women are you actually see it's like a lot more spread out. That women do cluster, but it's more of a gradient.
Yeah.
Of, it's not black white, it's black into white.
And I also know loads of women as well who were like, I didn't think I was gay or anything like that, but I, had an experience with another woman. I tried it and it was all right, but then I realised it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really common thing.
Well,
but how many men have gone, well, I didn't think I was gay, but I thought I'd suck a couple of cocks just to check. And as
Suck
it
it and
turned,
see.
yeah, suck it and see. And as it turned out, as the semen hit the back of my throat, I thought, do you know what?
Bit salty.
Not for me.
No, I don't like this. And so now I'm straight. It's just, guys just don't do that.
Yeah, there's kind of an evolutionary explanation for this as well, though, because it comes off incredibly anti-feminist, and the whole reproduction's not always a choice.
Hey, coming off incredibly anti-feminist is my
That's your
job.
cup of tea. Yeah. But it is that thing about like female bonobos will have sex with each other as a means of distracting two males who are engaging in really aggressive fighting.
Shut up.
Totally true. Totally accurate.
So they'll go, hey guys, stop fighting. There's lesbian porn over here.
That is
Like,
exactly.
oi.
Yeah.
So funny.
And that fluidity, that flexibility around women's sexuality is kind of defensive.
I'm just
It's
imagining.
preemptive. It's
I'm just imagining like a pot world on a Saturday night. Darren, leave it! And then just
It's not worth it.
you say that like it wouldn't work.
look at what I'm doing to
It
Chloe.
totally
Well,
would
wouldn't it?
work.
Oh yeah, it
Yeah.
100%
Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
It 100% would. And then, but then on the other hand, you could have like you could play into this cluster idea and have like at kicking out time rather than playing like some shit music and putting all the lights on. Just having like a massive gay orgy and all the buzz. Oh no, don't want to watch that. I'll cluster up.
Oh, whiptail lizards.
Oh yes, lizards, whiptail lizards, which is
There's like so many tangents.
I
there.
know.
It's difficult.
I love my subject.
Yeah.
go on. Okay,
Because I a little bit want to come back to female sexual fluidity at some point, but
Oh, we totally
whiptail
will.
lizards,
here's what we're
we
going to do. We're
Well,
going
perfect
to
segue.
reverse.
Perfect segue though.
We're going to
'Cause-
reverse. We're going to do we're going to do whiptail lizards.
Yeah.
We're going to do slugs and hermaphrodites.
Yeah.
And then we are going to do
Yeah.
whatever you just said. And then we are not going to get distracted. I want you all to watch this and be witness
That's
to our
fucking line.
laser-like precision.
You ready for this?
Place your bets on how long it takes us to.
10 seconds. Ready?
Okay, whiptail lizards.
There are only females and they have lesbian sex only, and that's how they sexually reproduce.
Really?
It's a misleading thing.
What?
Right? They're not hermaphroditic. They are female onlys. and
So
they
how-
have to have sex to ovulate, and then they self-inseminate and kind of like, yeah. So
Talking about
Right?
this is going to be stupid,
No,
but where
it's
does the
not
sperm
stupid.
come from?
they don't. They have
But I thought
evolved
you
under
kn-
such an ecological condition.
Oh dear God!
It's one of the weird things. They have to have sex in order to reproduce, but they don't have males.
But I thought that, and again, this is going like
Lesbian lizards.
science. I thought you needed sperm and an egg.
No.
Nah.
So asexual reproduction.
Yeah, but
There-
isn't
there's-
that like bacteria where they just split into two?
Yeah.
That's not what your fucking lizards are doing, though, is it? Go
Not-
under a rock and then they like separate.
It's a weird thing.
Not directly, but so the genetic material in the egg is like identical to the mother.
Yeah.
How do I not
So it's
know
making
this?
its own clone,
'Cause
basically.
why would you?
Because it feels like it's a really important thing.
One of the things that I really love about a lot of parthenogenic species is they can just split on their own, or they can have sex. So they will either give birth to clones or children.
Really?
And it's the environment that will kind of dictate whether they decide to clone themselves or have like something that is half them, half something else.
Because the benefit of sex, like to simplify things, sex exists because of gross things in the world. So if I'm a perfect clone of my parent, singular parent, because I'd be a clone, if there's a virus or bacteria or a germ out there and I don't have the immune system for it, then I'm going to die and my offspring aren't going to clone and clone and clone. Sex allows the mixture of genes that allows for better survival in different pathogen situations and better
Right.
environmental situations. So those whiptail lizards, they live in an environment that is so harsh, but so barren as well, because it's acrid desert land.
surely-
It's very unchanging, basically.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say,
Like,
surely
so-
you could like sneeze on one of them and that could wipe out the entire fucking species, couldn't you?
Yeah,
It depends on whether you've got a virus that will also work in animals.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
so some viruses are very species specific.
Yeah, but I mean, theoretically, you could go up to one of
Theoretically,
them.
if you introduced a new pathogen that would attack them that they didn't have immunity to, yeah, they'd be fucked.
How the fuck have they survived this long?
Because the environment has just been really stable.
Where do they live?
I think the deserts of the United States.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus fucking
But
Christ.
species like that are the ones that will be really fucked over by climate change.
Right, okay. So,
Because there's no genetic variability, so there's no room for natural selection to operate. And like,
so they're
mold.
all whiptail lizards are just clones.
you know a lot more about whiptail lizards than me.
I mean,
Pretty
no,
much.
actually, I believe that they have double the amount of chromosomes, so they are not exact clones. They are genetic variable, but like they mix and match their own genetic material and pass those on.
That's
They
fucking
they have twice as many
mental.
chromosomes as they need, so they can mix and match on their own.
But does that not mean that they can only clone themselves once?
But they're not clones. They have double the chromosomes.
Okay.
That it's like they're their own mothers and fathers.
But
That-
can they only replicate once, or can they replicate like hundreds of times?
you mean can they breed multiple?
Yeah.
Like how many? Oh no, they can do it multiple times. Yeah, I mean.
Oh, I don't even know anymore. I don't even
Right?
understand this.
Isn't like science and nature really cool? Because like for every instance of one thing, there's an instance of something else that is totally batshit crazy.
Do they have like, so theoretically,
Yeah.
how big is a whiptail lizard?
Gecko size?
Okay.
Like-
Right. Okay. That's kind of ruined my question then. So my
Like it
question,
could definitely fit in the palm of my hand.
my question was going to be like, if I wanted to have sex with them.
No.
I mean, if you really wanted to,
No.
No.
What would happen?
well,
It
it'd
would get
explode.
crushed.
All right. What do you mean emotionally? Just had a really
Yes.
bad night last night.
Like he didn't text
Oh,
the next
God.
morning.
God, you know our species hasn't had sex in 1,000 fucking years. Well, I broke that duck with Freddie Quinn. I don't know why.
Well, no, they do have sex. It's just lesbian sex. Just to
Okay.
be very clear on this.
Okay.
It activates the ovulation.
So that's whiptail lizards.
Yeah. Slugs, right? So the leopard slug.
Hermaphrodite slugs.
They are
Slugs are
hermaphrodite.
great.
Mollusks in general are phenomenal.
So hermaphrodite slugs.
So they have both male and female.
Damn, I want to see a slug RuPaul Drag Race. That's what I want to see.
That'd be fabulous. Ooh.
Sashay away. it's just taking so long to get on the platform.
No, you say that. I'm telling you, slugs are a lot faster because I had one in my house and then I lost it. I blinked and it was gone.
Fuck off, you blinked and a slug was gone. How long was your blink?
Okay, maybe it
Was
wasn't
it a blink or was it an absent seizure?
Yeah, like an 8-hour sleep or something.
I might have gotten distracted.
Okay, that's very fucking
Do you know what, though?
Same thing in my world.
To be fair, they are slow, but they're not like you know, there's some like snails and shit.
Yeah.
Like they literally look like they're not moving. But slugs, you can see their gross little fucking body go.
Yeah, they
like
hustle. They got a hustle going on. It's just, to scale.
So slugs are hermaphrodites.
They are hermaphrodites. So what the leopard slug does is, they'll send out this pheromone, the smell that like attracts the other ones, and they'll make a trail and they'll find each other. And then they will meet each other on a branch somewhere high up. And then they create this really thick, I get excited. They create this really thick mucus strand, and they will then suspend themselves downward and outwardly.
Well, like Spider-Man.
Yeah, just like Spider-Man.
More like Snot Man.
Oh, God. What a superhero that would be. Snot Man. Quick, there's a robbery at the bank. Oh, I'm on my way.
God bless you, Snot Man.
And don't think about doing it again like a block nose. Has anyone got a tissue?
I was going to say, who is his arch nemesis?
What, sorry?
It would be like Tissue Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kleenex boy. Although that sounds like sounds like a right masturbator of a criminal, doesn't it? Kleenex boy.
But anyway, back to slugs. So
Although, can you imagine a fight between Snotman and Kleenex boy? Just like a green strain and a white one connected in the middle. A battle between snot and cum.
Snot Man.
What?
Okay, yeah, Kleenex. I was still thinking about tissues.
I was thinking about cum.
My money would still be on the snot.
Really?
if you've ever had a
bloody
really
hell.
bad cold,
Well,
those
have you
tissues
ever-
do not stand up.
Have you ever sneezed and gone, yeah, I won't be doing that again for an hour?
No,
But
right.
you've done that with jizz.
But if you had an infinite supply of both, which is a more viscous liquid, I would say that cum has more about it than snot.
Yeah.
So if you have an infinite supply,
It depends. There's a lot more
so
variety in
if you
snot.
can imagine, end of Harry Potter, Harry Potter's wand, Voldemort's wand, beam in the middle,
And
and good versus evil is fighting. Right, it's an infinite supply of both snot and cum.
Okay.
I think
Just produces ectoplasm.
I think the cum overpowers the snot.
It says a lot about your sex life.
And whoever had 4 minutes and 12 seconds wins the bet. Of course we're going to talk about snot and cum. Of course we were.
How is that not going to happen?
Hermaphrodite slugs.
Right,
Yes.
before you move on, just
Go
because
on.
I feel like you really need to sell how much mucus is involved in this, like dangling.
Like a
Because
foot.
and it is thick. Like, imagine like a cartoon teardrop.
You remember?
What?
You
Of,
remember
like-
there's something about Mary, that scene where she had the hair gel on her
Yes,
ear, and
and
it was
It's
like,
like that.
like that level of
It has that
viscosity.
Perfect
Really?
dangle
Yeah.
shape, like that perfect
Ben
teardrop
Stiller
shape
goes,
as well.
oh no, it's Cameron Diaz. And she does the...
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he did some hair gel. Who would ever do that? Who would ever do... I needed some hair gel dangling from your ear.
Yeah. To be... I was about to say, like, as if you'd assume it was hair gel, but also as if you'd assume it was jizz.
Yeah, and
Like,
also as well,
Both feel unlikely.
you'd be able to feel jizz dangling from your ear.
Yeah. Do you think?
Yeah. Think about, like, any sort of anything dangling from your ear in that fashion.
I'm trying to think how sensitive my ears actually are.
Okay, I'll put it this way. Do you know when you're wearing earrings?
No, but like they're there for quite a while.
I don't have ears.
So you stop.
You don't have ears?
Actually, there's a running joke that we forget that I have ears. I don't have pierced ears and don't wear earrings.
Oh, okay.
I have very tiny ears.
You do have very tiny ears.
Yeah.
I
know, right?
I love tiny little ears.
We kind of forget that they exist.
So small ears.
I have tiny.
Tiny ears. No, but I mean, like if they're dangling.
You're also actually smaller than you, like compared to the size of your head.
Yeah, I have
You've
tiny
got
ears
tiny
as well.
ears as well.
I've also got tiny hands as well. I've got tiny ears and tiny hands. What a fucking disaster. Right, well, you're pretty tiny. Here you go. Well, yeah.
No, but I have massive hands.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
but the
because
height
you are a
differential.
hermaphrodite slug. That's.
How did he know?
It was the mucus that I saw earlier on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it like we're talking a big glob of mucus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like they're in their own little mucus.
My question
bubble.
is, why have I never seen that?
Would you like to?
They have, yeah.
Yes.
It's on. You can find.
I will show you
Videos
after.
So
of
what
it.
do I Google? I'll just look for an image now. What do I Google? Like
Leopard slug sex.
leopard slug sex. Yep, that can't possibly
The last
nuke
time
my
I was
browsing
here,
history.
The last
Oh
time I was
come
here,
on!
it was
As if that's the filthiest thing you've ever googled.
no, because last time it was a kidney penis.
Yeah, echidna penis.
Yeah.
That was such a good one.
Spelling it was the most tense I've ever been. Oh my god! The fuck is that?
It is.
Fuck
It's proper
off.
sci-fi, isn't it?
The fuck is it bright blue?
See, okay,
Let's
so
have a
I
little
didn't
look.
get that far in explaining how it works.
So look at that. If you can't see it, whatever. It's Google it. Leopard slug penis. Do it in your own time.
Well, it's not penis.
Not
it's
penis,
Sex.
sex.
Not sex. Leopard slug
Because
sex.
what they do then is yeah, I've seen it. So they have internal genitals until they have sex, at which point they inside out themselves.
Do you know
then
what?
They put their genitals together and they simultaneously inseminate each other in this beautiful blue mucus cabal
Wait.
of love.
Wait. Say that again, because I almost heard that they. No, I
Yes.
can't have possibly heard what I just heard. So say it again.
What did you think I said?
So I was only half listening.
Okay.
But I thought, yeah, as I often do. I thought you said that they sort of vomit out their sexual organs and they mesh them together and then they ingest each other's,
Inseminate.
inseminate each other's,
Yeah.
and then so that blue sort of thing.
Are their genitals outside of themselves inseminating each other at the. Yeah.
That's fucking horrific.
I disagree. I think it's amazing.
That's fucking. So they've
great.
They've vomited up their own genitals.
I mean, vomit. Like you think it's coming from their mouth, but yeah, sure.
Oh my god, that's horrible. That's literally horrible. That's
You're
very
I don't know.
Mental.
I honestly, I don't know how that's allowed to happen.
Like David Attenborough should just turn up and knock them out.
David Attenborough speaks in a whisper shout, but you're very judgmental of how other slugs like swing. Like, it's shame on you.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
far be it from me to kink shame, but you're all fucking disgusting, horrific.
But it's cool. So like you then with that way of reproducing, both parties come away pregnant.
Okay.
Basically.
Oh god.
So one active intercourse, two pregnant bodies.
Oh god, but it's horrible to look at though.
Well, don't look at it then.
Well, I just did. Do you know what as well though is the picture that I looked at? It looked the blue fucking mess
Also-
had a beautiful blueness to it.
You said like it's horrible to look at, as if non-choreographed pornographic human sex is delightful.
But-
like, come on.
But so here's the thing, right? I've got a dog,
Yes.
right? And I chopped its balls off.
Yeah.
For a laugh.
Well, I hope you paid a professional.
Sorry?
I hope you paid a professional to
No,
do it.
I,
just went at him with some garden shitters.
I sat him in front of the TV, put Netflix on, and made him watch Nanette by Hannah Gadsby, and they just ripened up like that and fell off.
Oh, I love that.
You what? Sorry.
I love that one.
Nanette.
Well, it's not marketed to me, so it's not my favourite.
Oh, fair
but
enough.
to be fair, she didn't make it and go, tell you you'll like this. Straight line, man. They'll fucking love a bit of this. But yeah, anywho, we chopped his balls off because he was very dominant, and we knew that he was going to get worse. And also, we had absolutely no plans of letting him sort of reproduce. But also, as well, he was humping everything in fucking plain sight. But now he still humps.
Sure.
But like, I'd have thought that he'd have just been like, I've got no balls anymore. The drive with which to hump has gone. But when
Yeah.
the point that I'm on this is when I'm looking at my dog humping his little teddy that he humps a Build-A-Bear teddy. Have I told you this?
We've talked about getting a Build-A-Bear with a fleshlight for a dog in it.
Yeah. He humps a Build-A-Bear teddy, but it's one that I just got from the rack. It's not one that I made.
You didn't make it with
I didn't
love.
make it with love
You
myself.
didn't hold the heart and make a special
I didn't
wish.
make my dog its own sex doll. I didn't do that.
You know, Christmas is coming.
And so's your dog. Well, no, he's not anymore, is he?
Oh, imagine if they did. Imagine if they did dog sex toy adverts, but like with like the Joe Lewis sadness. It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. And they got like RSPCA adverts and mixed them up with like sex toy adverts. I don't know why I'm getting so involved in this. Why does my dog keep pumping stuff?
I'm not an expert on this specific instance.
Okay.
But it is possible that the age at which your dog was castrated might be an impact.
Yeah, it was early. We castrated him early.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I would guess that might be it. That if you were to castrate him even younger,
Yeah.
it might have been early from your point of view, but not from the dog's biological point of view. It could have been that was already activated in its body.
So,
But I don't know.
here's another thing. There's a comedian that I can't remember, but there's a joke that I know where it's a really old joke. It's not great. It's something like humans and dolphins are the only animals that have sex for pleasure. And that's why I got kicked out of SeaWorld or something, like that.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Again, how it's a thing of
pleasure.
like, how do you measure it?
I don't reckon leopard skin slugs are vomiting their own fucking reproductive organs for shits and gigs.
But like I was saying about
Is that what they were called?
leopard slugs, wasn't it?
leopard slugs.
Yeah, not leopard skin slugs.
Oh, right, okay.
That made them a lot more like fashion conscious in my head.
I mean, to be fair, they would do well on RuPaul's Drag Race.
But like what I was saying before about bonobos, right? The females would have sex with each other as a hypothetical means of distracting males. Does that mean that the females are not getting pleasure out of that? Like bonobos shag constantly.
Oh,
Yeah.
You can't tell me that's not for funsies.
Which ones are bonobos again?
They look like chimps, but not.
They're referred to as pygmy chimpanzees.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, but they're not like pygmy chimpanzees.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
just a bit smaller.
Yeah.
But they look very similar, but behave quite differently. Chimps are much more aggressive than bonobos.
They're just
And
not having as
bonobos-
much sex. That's
Have
why
I told you
all
my
the time.
my fact on chimpanzees? I might not have told you this. Maybe I have. Chimpanzees are the only animals where at the zoo, if they escape, it's shoot on sight.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're the only ones. Every other animal
Yeah.
is like, let's try not to shoot it. But with chimpanzees, I think it's a mixture of one, being aggressive as fuck and they will rip a literal person's face off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Two, they can move quick, so they could easily leave the zoo rapid. And three, I don't think they're that expensive either. Like as opposed to like a gorilla or something like that probably cost $1.
Yeah.
It's a cost.
Well, there's a
benefit
really
analysis.
interesting. I'm trying to remember where I heard it, but it's this idea that really illustrates the difference between the great apes. Of like, if you throw a basic camera in or something like that, like an interesting looking box into the various different enclosures, a chimpanzee will just fuck it up. It'll just smash it. A bonobo will try and shag it. A gorilla will gently take it apart. An orangutan will take it apart and try and put it together again.
Oh, okay.
Like that's
I like
kind
that.
of, I know.
Like,
orangutans
orangutans
are
are
my
great.
favorite. They are the best.
I really like
so good.
orangutans.
I really like that. Like the both of us at the same time said
Yeah.
that.
They do look so chill, don't they?
They're
They
just
are.
really lovely. They are the
You know
chillest,
about
I think.
the orangutan who would let itself in and out of the cage? Like they're wicked smart. So there was one. I can't remember his name. Shame on me. But he actually kept a lockpick like in his gums, and he would let himself out every night, and they couldn't figure it out. Yeah, he would just let himself out and just like mosey around the zoo or the enclosure, and
Who's been eating McDonald's? Why is there loads of Why is there a ticket stub here to a late night cinema showing? What the fuck's going on?
Planet of the Apes.
Getting some dangerous ideas there.
Why are they? Why is there only like fucking like 10 of them left then?
People suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they don't defend themselves very well.
Do they not?
Because they're not very aggressive.
I thought that they were like really, really strong.
Oh
aren't
yeah,
they?
they're hench, but they're not. Like, they're pretty chilled, and like it's not so much that they're getting poached; it's that their habitat's getting destroyed.
Really?
Basically, as well. Yeah.
'Cause that's the thing. It's like, what are the natural predators of an orangutan? They're the less prey you are, the more chill you tend to be. So like we talk about being dumb as a dodo, but the fact is dodos didn't have a whole lot of predators on their island.
Yeah. They didn't need to be defensive.
You've just, honestly, you've just, something's gone off in my brain.
Ooh.
Okay.
So this is a question that I have been asking for a very long time, and nobody has given me an answer.
We'll do our best.
Nobody. Okay. So, you know swans,
Yes.
right? Why aren't there fucking loads of them? Why?
Explain that a little bit
So-
more. So why?
So, you see a swan, right? Every once in a while. You
Right,
see
yeah.
a swan. That's how often you see swans. Every once in a while, you go, oh, it's a swan. Maybe you see two. It's a swan, right?
Okay.
But they don't have any predators apart from foxes, but they're not like foxes don't dine exclusively on swans. They're aggressive as fuck. People can't kill them, otherwise the queen gets pissed off at you. There's an abundance of food. So why aren't swans fucking everywhere? If there's loads of stuff for it to eat, and there's loads of habitat for it to live in, and there's next to no predators to wipe it out, why aren't we fucking overrun with swans?
Part of it'll be how easy it is to get a chick to full grown.
Yeah.
Like, so it might be difficult to take on a full grown swan, but taking on like a
Baby.
baby, it's
Signet.
Cygnet. Thank you. 'Cause I was thinking,
Oh, yes!
I knew it wasn't Gosling because that's for geese
And Ryan.
and Ryans. Yeah.
That's my favourite joke so far. That's my favourite.
When will he be Ryan Goose? How old does he have to get?
Ryan Goose. Oh,
You know what it reminds? There's a paper that I read. I probably shouldn't announce this on something that's getting recorded, but there was a paper that I read, and one of the authors was called Jack Van Honk, and
That's a good name.
good name for a goose.
yeah.
Like I want to
Dutch
write a
goose.
cartoon. I wanted like a cartoon where one of the characters is a goose called Jack Van Honk.
It's a children's book, isn't it? About
Yeah.
a Dutch goose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going around Amsterdam smoking weed. I am Jack Van Goose. Jack Van Honk.
Jack Van Honk. Yeah. Oh, this.
The mythical adventures of Jack Van Honk.
It'd be great, wouldn't it?
Really?
Goose detective.
Jack Van Honk. Goose detective. Oh my God. Jack Van Honk, Goose Detective. Why does it sound like porn?
Possibly I talk about sex.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because you're a pervert. What? One of those.
Oh, mate. Right, okay. 500
Where the
Patreons.
shit were we?
If we get to 500, I will send everybody a novel, not a novel, that'd be ridiculous. I'll send everyone a small children's book. We'll pay for a children's book to be created and illustrated. Jack Van Honk, Goose
we
Detective.
can work on that.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, three of us.
I'm in.
Jack
We'll
Van
split
Honk.
the royalties between us.
Deal.
You two can do whatever you like with yours. Donate it to charity. Mine will be kept as money for me.
Okay.
Yeah, Jack Van Honk, Goose Detective. If we get to 500 Patreons, that's what we're going to do.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any literary agents listening?
You've heard it here first.
Jack Van Imagine if this got really fake. Like Jack Van Honk, Goose Detective took off.
This is the origin
It was
story
an
of Jack Van
international
Honk.
hit, a
Goose
massive big
Detective.
thing. And then people found this video and then we all got cancelled because they were like, how dare they How dare they? Is
The
that the
origins
sort of filth?
this cherished childhood book in discussing with slug sex.
Anyway, so Goose Gosling's signet. That's how we got onto Jack Van Honk.
Yeah.
Right.
She had it back. Right. Yeah.
So getting a signet to Swan, like it's much easier to like take on a signet.
Do you know what? Maybe Jack Van Honk's arch nemesis could be Ryan Goose.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, you're not keen on that, are you?
Well, I mean, it
We'll
just
work on
didn't
it.
get the same
We'll work
reaction,
on
did
it.
it?
What's Jack Van Honk's what's his name? Because if he's a goose detective, then he's looking into different crimes and things like that.
I think the only thing that could possibly really take on a goose would be a badger.
Oh,
Like I don't mess.
no,
No,
but-
I do not mess around with geese. They are.
but also
No, but
as well.
Are you thinking about like what like British badgers, or are you thinking American badgers? Because they are very different.
I was thinking British badgers.
Really, but they're so.
Are
So
they?
all they're gonna they'll just give him TB. Like what? What else
No,
are they
okay, so
gonna
I had
do?
a friend once.
Sorry, for a minute I got TB and AIDS mixed up, and I thought the sad demise of Jack Van Honk would be him slowly
That would be
wasted away.
so much darker.
And I was going to say as well, it's a children's book
Yeah.
where the main character just dies of AIDS slowly after it's been given to it by its nemesis.
The badgers are nice, I think.
I know people who might disagree. 'Cause
Okay.
She accidentally might have weed on one and then got chased.
Sorry,
I mean-
she got pissed. Sorry, someone you
She
know pissed on a badger.
The badger reacted badly, and
And
the thing we learned from that story is badgers are nasty.
Yeah, do you know what?
I think your friend is nasty to badgers. I think that's what that story
Your
is.
mate needs to fucking own her actions a bit, because she pissed on a badger and the badger chased her away.
For like
I think
half
that's
a
fair
mile.
enough.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
I
it
don't think
wasn't
that's
just-
unreasonable badger behaviour. That's unreasonable your mate
And then there were
behaviour.
two other female badgers lesing off.
Stop
chasing It's not worth it. Not worth it.
She's not worth it, Barry.
Barry the badger, of course. Bodger.
It might have been. I wouldn't piss on Bodger.
Oh wait, you won't know what Bodger the badger is.
I don't.
Right, okay.
It was a children's TV program, and so it was a bloke with like
yeah, it was a single man.
puppet.
It was a single man living in his own.
with a badger
That lived
was
under the
actually a
sink.
toy.
So the badger lived under the sink.
Yeah.
And the badger had a serious obsession with mashed
Mashed potato.
potato. This was a
Okay.
children's.
was the
Bodger the
90s.
badger, la 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 la. Bodger and badger, dub dub dub.
And never far away.
Yeah,
isn't
something
it?
like that. That's a bit creepy, isn't it?
When you think about really terrifying.
Yeah.
Okay, whoever is in charge of British children's television is clearly on acid.
Oh god.
Oh, yeah.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Because the things that my friends have told me about, it's just the stuff of nightmares. Like
on.
who the there's like these round, colorful creatures that are just nightmare-inducing, and they're like balls of
What?
Oh,
Balls of what?
like they
Are they peas down at the bottom of the garden
no
amongst the birds and the bees?
what
Live a
What?
love little people. They call the Poddington peas. The Poddington peas.
There were little peas at the bottom of the garden.
really no.
They have legs and arms,
Yeah,
and
the-
one of them's evil.
And then
yeah, the
there's-
Poddington peas were shit.
Yeah, and the things I hear about, like the magical roundabout and Button Moon, like all of these things are kind of like. But sorry, there's a badger who lives under the sink and loves mashed potatoes.
Yes. Do you know about the family Ness?
No.
I feel like you'd have really liked the family Ness. Do you remember the family Ness? No. So the family Ness was a cartoon. It was in Scotland, and it was Angus and Elsbeth, and they were both given magical thistle whistles. And when they blew on the thistle whistles, a monster from the Loch Ness would come out and help them with their problems. But it was different Loch Ness monsters. So, for example, let's say that they had to win a football game. They'd blow on the whistle, and Sporty Ness would come out. Let's say they were having relationship trouble. They'd blow, and Loveliness would come out.
Oh,
and
I
that
love
was
Loveliness.
It was actually really nice.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
No, not at all.
No, it's definitely a thing because I've got a hoodie. I've got a hoodie with it. Yeah. What else children's TV programs, whether that were mad? Penny Crayon. You look a bit like Penny Crayon. Don't she look a bit like Penny Crayon?
That's not ringing a bell.
Penny Crayon can draw anything she likes. Motorbikes.
We're now officially demonetized.
So yeah, definitely. We've lost that strike. Copyright strike. So Penny Crayon was a girl with a magical crayon, right? And whatever she drew would come to life and invariably attack her best mate. and she'd never draw I've just drawn an ice cream for you. It'd always be like, hey, look, I'm drawing a crocodile with chainsaws for teeth. And you could see her mate go, oh, for fuck's sake, Penny, girl, pack it the fuck in.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I would do as well.
Yeah. Why don't you draw me some new legs, you fucking bitch? What was your favourite one growing up? What did you like?
I used to like Magic School Bus.
Yes.
Because that was vaguely educational.
Vaguely. It was very
educational. I liked Wizardora. I kind of liked Wizardora, but also felt quite unsettled by Wizardora.
Okay.
Because it was a bit, I don't know. I didn't watch a huge heap of TV as a kid. I was a tree climbing kid rather than a TV watching kid.
I was a TV watching kid.
Yeah. I don't have quite as much TV knowledge as a lot of...
Live and Kicking or SMTV Live?
Oh, Live and Kicking.
Oh, I was SMTV Live.
Okay.
Yeah, Wonky Donkey.
What was it that was on just before that? Quite early in the morning. There was something on that was that was on just before those. That I used to get up early for.
I don't remember, mate. No.
Anyway, we've gone so far.
We've gone so far off
and
track.
for quite a long time.
Back to sex.
From children's television to sex.
Are there any other weird animal sex things?
Oh, they're all weird.
That does not narrow my brain down in the least bit.
Talk to us about. Well, give us some more examples. Anything.
Well, so backtracking is so you're asking about swans, and what Kat was kind of alluding to was K versus our strategies.
Yeah, partly that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So when species are evolving, they have this trade-off of, do I have a lot of kids or a few kids? Yeah. And swans have 6.
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
Yeah. So why aren't there more?
So you have loads because they don't make it.
Okay.
So it's I'm gonna have a fuckload of kids,
but who's
and hopefully
killing them?
one or two will get through.
There's
loads of
anything and everything.
Cygnets, so they could be getting eaten by foxes. They could be drowning. They could just not be eating enough.
I can't see how they'd be getting eaten by foxes because swans make the nests in reeds and shit in the middle of the water.
Ooh.
As far as I remember,
you could just not be seeing them.
What, sorry?
Well, okay, so you would think swans, bright white things, they should be easy to spot, but they're not. Creatures have evolved to kind of blend into their environments, particularly prey species.
Yeah, but I think the questions Freddie is asking is, why aren't they literally everywhere? Why haven't they taken over everything?
Yeah.
Why don't they...
He might not be seeing them.
Well, why aren't they like pigeons and shit?
The difference between them blending in with the background and being fucking invisible.
Yeah. Camouflage swans.
He's talking
Do you spend a lot of time in the reeds?
What, sorry?
He's asking,
well, I actually used to live next to a canal.
Really?
So, yeah. So as a what would you call it? A test. Yeah, that's the word I was thinking of. Test. I could see all day stuff that passed, and obviously you get shitloads of fucking moor hens and stuff like that because they're everywhere. But swans, you relatively rare, and it got me thinking, why aren't they fucking... The only thing that I could think of is that swans are notoriously territorial.
That's where my brain was heading as well.
Yeah.
And maybe the biggest killer of swans is other swans. So it's you fucking cygnets around here, are they? I'll fuck them up. Because that's the only thing that swims and that could get to them.
They will go on land, though. You'll... Or I assume they do, because ducklings certainly do. But there were a couple of summers in a row where in my mum's garden, ducks would turn up and there'd be ducklings. And one day there's 12 little ducklings. There's
six.
8 little ducklings. Like,
6 little ducklings.
there's 2 little ducklings left.
little
And then
ducks
there's
went
no
out
ducklings
one
and no
day.
ducks.
I know that song.
This sounds like a job for Jack Van Honk.
We need a swanologist. That's what we need.
Yeah.
We'll find a swanologist for
But
you.
like birds of prey could quite easily take on
But
a cygnet.
you'd think as well, though, that if they had the choice between cygnets and fighting a swan or ducklings and fighting a duck, you'd be duckling all day.
Yeah.
It depends how swift you are as well. And one of the things with animals that have loads of kids, one of them gets eaten.
Yeah.
So they'll be less protective. They'll fight less over it. So they will fight to save that offspring, but they're not going to risk their own lives over it.
The more kids they have, the worse mums they become, innit?
Yeah.
Very much like
Very much like
human beings. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you see those.
I could see you, girl. I don't fuck like yeah.
You
Anyway.
see those TV shows. It's like 20 and counted, and it's like mum's just like, fuck it, feed yourselves. I don't give a shit. You know, just leave me alone. All of you, leave me alone. This is the room that you're not allowed to come in because mum needs to fucking chill because there's 20 of you fuckers. That's okay. So let's finish off.
There are some animals that will the amount of offspring that they have kind of banks on. So it banks on that idea that not all of them are going to make it. But like there are certain birds who will always lay like 2 eggs.
Yeah.
Okay.
If times are good, they will feed both of the chicks. If times are bad, they'll like sort of size them up and just boot one out the nest.
Yeah.
That's so harsh.
Dude, a lot
rabbits?
of animals are.
Do you know about the rabbit mums? Terrible mums. Like, if a rabbit mum gets scared, she'll eat her kids.
What we watch is
Which is why you never see bunnies in a ghost house. In a haunted house.
oh, it's film night tonight, guys. What we watching? The Shining. Oh fuck.
Like, you think Watership Down was horrifying? Real rabbits are just as bad. Yeah.
So how much do you have to scare a rabbit in order for it to make it kill?
Not that much.
So if you
Just startle it.
You just walk past a rabbit and go, boo! Oh fuck! Nom, 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 nom.
Yeah. They're terrible parents. Rabbits are awful parents, and they're like, you think cute little fluffy bunny. No, there's like, everything you think about animals is probably wrong, and even though like the cutest, most lovely things like koalas, and chlamydia.
Oh yeah, they've all got the clap.
Yeah.
What?
Do you not know that?
No.
And the babies
Oh,
eat
yeah.
the mom's poo.
Shit, I wish someone had told me. I've been fucking them bareback for ages.
Whoops.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you and your girlfriend need to get tested, mate.
Yeah, shit, me. How am I going to explain that eucalyptus lube? That's what they eat, isn't it? Eucalyptus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently they've got gorgeous breath, which might explain why they've all got the clap.
No way.
Well, no,
because
but
all they eat is the eucalyptus, so they've got like
that's- no,
lovely,
no.
Minty
lovely-
fresh breath.
Yeah,
So,
so
the way
you're
it
like, oh
works
yeah, I'll fucking
is
stomp
the
that.
mom eats the eucalyptus, and then she poops, and the baby eats their poop, and that's how they pass.
Wait,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Isn't there a toilet roll company like Cashel? Is it?
Yeah.
Whose logo is a koala bear?
koalas on them,
and
yeah.
all koalas have syphilis.
Chlamydia.
Chlamydia.
I get it
Chlamydia.
confused too.
Yeah.
Okay.
They definitely have an STD
How have they all got chlamydia?
because they go mum to child, mum to child, mum to child, mum to child.
But also that sexy breath.
Oh,
And they're in
God.
Australia, you know.
Oh, everything in Australia.
Any other animals that I'd be baffled by?
Do you know which animal has the largest penis relative to its body?
Which? Oh, let me guess. I reckon
Yeah,
I can
I know,
work this
right?
out through deduction. Go, you don't know this other
I
cat, do you?
don't.
So
I
you're
have a
gonna-
couple of hunches. The one I know for certain is the biggest baculum,
What's the biggest baculum?
penis bone.
Oh.
So a baculum
I'm
is a
bringing
penis bone.
sexy baculum.
Yeah.
The motherfuckers don't
Pretty
know
sure that's a
how to
walrus.
baculum. Right. Okay. I'm gonna work this out. So it's gonna be. It has to be a small animal. It has to be.
Okay.
So it can't be right. So let me work this out by working out what the maximum size I think it could be.
Okay.
So the maximum size I think would be like a small dog, like because anything big, because it has to have a big dick relative to its size.
Yeah.
But like, you've never seen a dog with a dick that's bigger than itself. In fact, no, of course you haven't. Why did I have to spell that out? Like,
Because you have to think it through.
People holding up dogs like selfie sticks. Right, I'm going to go with... insects out. They're out.
There is one insect that has a sperm that is huge.
Fruit fly. The
Yeah.
sperm is,
Massive.
I think it's nearly as big as the fly.
Yeah.
Oh,
right? It's
God.
so cool.
Yeah.
Right, okay,
yeah,
let me
no, it's
let me
not
think.
an insect.
Biggest penis
Relative to its size.
To its size. Think, Freddie,
I've
think.
remembered what it is, I
There
think.
we go.
Think, Freddie, think. What would need to have a big dick?
And why would it
Right,
need a big dick?
okay, so
Why would it need it?
I'm going to go
Uh-huh.
with a mole. And the reason being is because moles have bad eyesight.
I thought you were going to say they've got big holes.
Well, no, my thought is they have notoriously bad eyesight and they are quite small. And so maybe their dicks are fucking massive. Wait a minute, stop. I'm not locking it in for the answer.
Okay.
I'm not locking it in for the answer. The reason being is because how hard would it be to like bury underground whilst carrying a massive schlong behind you? That's ridiculous. Right, no.
Well, it depends whether it's a grower or a shower.
Oh, yeah.
That is a
Like-
thing.
Right, okay.
Could just
okay.
tuck it away while he's digging.
Let me think about this. What animal would need to have a massive cock? Can I have a hint? Can I have a clue? Okay.
I'm trying to think of like a good clue.
All right, you're not trying to think about whether or not I can have a clue.
No, I'm trying to think of
okay.
like what is a fair, because like telling you why would it need a
big-
really big dick
Okay.
is kind of the hint.
Okay, well, I think that mole was a fairly good
Okay.
thought process based on that, but I don't feel confident given that moles spend so much of time underground.
Okay, let's think.
If it's what I think it is.
yeah.
So I want to confer with you to make sure I've not remembered the wrong
Okay,
thing.
we're gonna psychically
So-
communicate.
All right, I'll tell you
yeah,
what. I'll tell you what.
Basically, what if
Uh-huh.
if you
If
were
my
there,
mate was all yeah.
if you were there and you could not move from there,
Yes.
and the female was there and could not move from
Sloth.
no.
there, no, literally couldn't
If
move.
I can't reach,
All
I
right.
can't reproduce.
So you just
The something with tiny arms.
Well, no, that's why it's got
something that
Something with no
literally
arm.
doesn't move.
Literally doesn't move. An animal
Like
that literally
stuck.
doesn't move.
Stuck like a
What the fuck? What animal doesn't move?
right.
The
you're
He's
The-
thinking and like
you're being very mammal centric right now.
okay.
shame on you.
Oh, really? Hashtag check your mammal privilege. Right. Okay.
So we're not mammals.
Birds.
Nope.
No.
They're mammals.
Literally, like so,
The reason
literally
Reptiles.
cannot move. Literally cannot move.
Jellyfish. No.
do you
what?
Want to, do you want
This
to give
is
it? Go on,
hurting.
go on.
No. Right. So fish. Fish. No. Fish must be able to move.
Stop. So
Right. Let me think about this. What are they?
I
Right.
think
Just
it falls within the molluscus family.
yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
that can't move.
at all doesn't move.
Like
At all.
something that lives in a shell, maybe.
Yeah.
Like a mussel. I'm so close.
So close.
Go on. What is it?
It's a
a
barnacle.
barnacle.
A barnacle.
Yeah.
They've got huge dicks
massive.
because they can't move. They stick in the place. And
With
then,
a dick.
No, just they're stuck in place.
But like,
And so they
if I
can't
wanted
physically.
to-
So if we wanted to have sex, but we couldn't move, if one of us had a massive slong,
Right.
I could just throw my dick at her,
Like an
stick
octopus.
it up her without, and just stay right here.
Yeah.
And that's how barnacles.
That's how barnacles.
It's kind of like
yeah.
they have prehensile might be
Yeah.
a good word. Yeah, so their penises are like prehensile not
Whales,
quite.
yeah.
But,
I
like-
think whales have prehensile dicks, and it is
An
like
elephant has
certainly
terrifying.
certainly makes Barnacle Bay in SpongeBob SquarePants have a whole new meaning.
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
it?
But yeah, they kind
it's
of
Big Dick City.
the male barnacle will just kind of tap the other female barnacles around it because they can't move, but they need to like reach over.
How polite is that?
Yeah.
I'm putting it very politely. It's very erotic.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Yeah, but with your band.
Yeah, maybe. Can you imagine?
Excuse me.
Can you imagine being in a club
So you know the
and
way
feeling
John
a tap on your
Barrowman
shoulder?
has been accused of like
Japanese
flopping his
train.
cock on.
Who was this? John Barrowman?
Like flopping his cock on people's
That was-
shoulders. That basically.
I was just being a barnacle. What do you want me to be?
Do you want to see my barnacle impression?
Do you know?
Tap.
Do you know what? Wasn't that Noel Clark that threw him under the bus? Because it was Noel Clark. Everyone was fucking. He was getting Me Too'd, and Noel Clark's reaction was to go, "Hey,
John Barrowman.
John Barrowman thinks he's a
golden
fucking
boy."
barnacle. So if you're gonna cancel me, you're gonna cancel that cock tapping motherfucker." Which I think is such a great way to react to being Me Too'd, is to just grab someone and go, "And you're coming down
Yeah.
with me, John Barrowman."
Yeah.
To be fair, though, apparently John Barrowman's dick is fucking enormous. And, I mean, I'm not saying this as an excuse for him, but if you had an enormous cock, you would get it out regularly.
Would you?
Well, look, I've got
this is
mates.
why.
I've got mates who get pissed and get their dicks out, and that's what
That's just what
the funny.
you
That's what.
lot
That's
do,
yeah.
though,
That's
'cause
what
you
guys
find
do.
it hilarious.
But it's always the guy with the massive cock that gets it out. Like it's never fucking, Tiny Tim and his little.
I disagree
little-
because sometimes it is Tiny Tim making fun of himself before everybody else.
No, that's not how they work.
We
Guys
don't-
with tiny little penises don't go, "Hey, look how small my dick is," in front of their mates. Maybe they do it in front of women as like a sexual, like, "Oh, tell me how small my dick is." Oh, yeah, that really.
I'm gonna go for a why not both
Really?
for my own
So
personal experience.
Do you know somebody that gets his... Do you know somebody with a tiny penis who gets it out and says, "Look at my tiny penis"? Do you know what's amazing is that you won't know more than one of these people. So this guy will instantly know you're talking about him. Why are you looking like it's me? Why are you looking at me? Like, "Oh, that's what Quinn does on the car ride over here. Look at me, I'm a barnacle. You fucking wish, pal." Go on.
I might know like more than one.
What?
Yeah.
Guys that get their dicks out so that you can take the piss out of how small they are.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I don't know anyone like that.
How small is it?
I don't know. I politely refuse to look
Oh, okay.
because this is the thing: I'm not offended by dick pics. I'm not offended by crude humor. I just don't find it funny. If I want to look at a penis, I've got Google, and it's my job to look at penises all day. So it's not.
So,
Did I tell you about the time I accidentally showed like nearly an entire train carriage a dick pic?
No.
Oh Jesus! I was on the underground, on the tube, and I was on my phone. When I got a message from somebody, I'd forgotten that recently they'd sent a full-on pic of their dick.
yeah.
I opened it, dick pic on my screen,
Yeah.
small child next to me, and I panic and think I don't want the kid to see this, and I go, "Ah!"
Wow.
Flashed to the right instead of just hitting the back button.
Yeah,
which would be-
yeah,
I'd go, "Ah!"
Jesus. Do you know, I had a theory once, and I know this theory's going to get me into trouble with you two, but I feel as though that we've become friends.
We're all friends here.
So I thought that the dick pic was actually really good, sort of, it massively enhanced feminism and drove women's agency forward.
How so?
So here's my thought, here's my theory, right, is throughout history,
Since the
first-
dawn of time.
since the beginning of the days, right, throughout history, the first time that you got to sew a dick was when it was right in front of you. And it was like right there.
Okay, I'm going to stop you.
Yeah,
I mean-
right?
Dicks have been around for longer than trousers.
right. No. So I mean so I don't mean BT,
You mean like on her wedding night?
like
the
before
first-
trousers.
Yeah.
I mean AB, after boxers. Right. So like since when men have worn clothes and shit, the first time that you see a dick as a woman is when it's too late to do anything about it. No, like it's just it's because you can't be like, oh, I really like this guy or whatever. Like I really like him, and he's like, yeah, I really like you. Should we take this to the bedroom? And you're like, yeah, and then you get it out, and then he pulls his pants down, and you go, oh no, like.
Yeah, you can't politely bow out at that point.
Yeah. You can't go, bloody, oh, gee. You should.
You know what? I've left the iron on.
Yeah, you should have bloody well told me that that's what you had, because that's horrible. Or like that's just far too big. That's insane. that is ridiculous. You should wear some sort of bell. Like that's ridiculous on your bell. That's insane.
The only time I've laughed,
You laughed at somebody's genitals once?
I did once. But, right, so basically, his pants came down and he was already, very excited. And this it was just so big that it startled me and I laughed at it. Because it's the only time I've ever laughed at a dick, because like, whoa.
But it is a lottery for you, isn't it? So because when you see the dick for the first time, you don't know 100% what you're getting. You don't know how big it's going to be exactly. You don't know how wide it's going to be or how well kept it's going to be or any of those things. Yeah. But most of the time, you go, oh, this is probably got to be inside me one way or the other, so let's just try and make this work. But with the dick pic, it's very much like when IKEA got that app on their phones where you could pick some furniture and see what it looked like in your own home before you bought it. Like, you are able to look at the dick and go, nah, like that, without being in a environment where it's kind of too late to back out. So therefore, dick pics are the greatest liberating thing to ever happen to women. What do we think?
Well, my initial thought is like how the dick looks is not all that important. It really is what you do with it.
Never judge a book by its cover.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, but
yeah.
At the same time, though, there must be some dicks that you look at and you go, that's not been kept well enough for me to allow entry.
That's feral.
Yeah,
Your dick's feral.
You know, like when a bouncer goes, not with them shoes. Not with them pubes. Not with them. Why do your pubes look like a Rastafarian's head? Like matted dreadlock pubes.
I don't know. I've got studies in my head that are talking about why men send dick pics. Why? Because sometimes they are actually welcomed by women. Women ask for them even.
I don't think ever in the history of the world an unsolicited one has been welcomed.
Exactly.
And the other thing is something we were talking about last night, I think.
Probably.
Were we?
Talk a lot.
Yeah. So there's been people who've gone like, right, I'm going to show men how annoying it is to get an unsolicited picture of genitals. And this is a woman. And she's taken a picture of her vagina, randomly sent it to blokes, and the reaction was nearly 100%, way, lovely. Yeah. Because, to men, getting a picture like that, they're like, that's brilliant.
So
that's
part
wonderful.
Of it's the motivation, though. So men overestimate women's sexual interest in them, whereas women underestimate men's sexual interest.
Can I just say I have had a fanny pic sent to me before from a random stranger through Instagram, and it was hilarious, and I laughed for ages, and it was probably the most horrible vagina I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
Okay.
It looked like someone had tried to feed a packet of ham to a Venus flytrap. It just looked like it was all over the shop.
Yeah.
And it was like, what are you doing? But I still thought it was so funny. And I thought, honestly, I treated it like a little victory. I was like, yay! Yeah. I've unlocked something. I've leveled up. But
it's just one sort of... So, one difference between men and women, but obviously whenever you say there's these differences between men and women, it's a huge generalization. Statistically, on average...
Yeah.
Also, there's power dynamic issues when you're talking about men sending dick pictures to women. yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, I imagine as well that I was like, yay, because it happened once in all of the years of which I have had a telephone. Whereas if I, like, for example...
If you're on Tinder or Instagram.
Well, I have a...
as a woman.
I have a PPI company that keep messaging me, asking me to claim PPI.
Yeah.
And they message maybe once every few days. And I'm like, oh, this fucking PPI company again. Fuck off. Unsubscribe. I imagine that dick pics would get to be like that. Or fanny pics would get to be like that for me if they were sent every couple of days.
Also, how often have you felt really frightened by a woman? Like, really threatened, like,
yeah,
this could get
almost
incredibly
never.
out.
Yeah.
There is something invasive and violating about it at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is exactly, it's unsolicited. It's that whole reproduction's not always a choice thing. So it is somebody forcing their sexual reproductive organ at you.
Well, yeah. I mean, I have had
We've taken
like
a really dark turn.
yeah, it's gone
Can
dark.
we go back to like
I'm crazy. We've got.
Well, I mean, what I will say though is you are right, because I've had like, obviously in my job, I am around drunk people at night, and so it is not uncommon for me to be around drunk women who have watched me go on stage and fucking smash it for 20 minutes, and afterwards are a bit over familiar.
Yeah.
As it were.
They're too forward.
But at no point, like I've had women come up to me and just grab my cock. And I'm like, okay, I guess that means I did well tonight. But at no point have I ever gone, you could overpower me and sit on top of me right now. Like, it's just not a thing.
I will tell you two stories. So I was performing some stand-up comedy pre-lockdown era. And the compere actually came up to me because I do academic comedy. I talk about my research. I talk about sex in public.
Yeah.
And there is something about being a woman who's putting sex topics, and it's not even my own sex, it is sex, the topic, out there. But he was like, we need to have like a code word because men are going to come up to you. They're going to talk with you. They're going to flirt with you. You know, we're going to keep an eye on you because men can be very forward, especially to a young, attractive, blah, 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 etc. And I was like, cool, thanks. Totally used to this already. Thanks for white knighting this situation. But like, he's right. You know, men can be overly familiar, and God forbid a woman does talk about sex really openly, then she's a target. And one time, when I was an undergrad, I was goofing around with a male friend of mine. You know, we were just like literally 20 years old, and we were playing Mercy. You know, just like squeezing each other's hands.
Yeah.
And you know that point where you've crushed the hands as much as you can, that you then start pushing into them?
Yeah.
And he pushed me down, and I realized like I was fighting back as much as I can.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, if he wanted to, I am down. And I kind of had like a little bit of a panic attack because it was one of those moments where I realized the fragility of my physical being of, you know, it's not the first time, it's not the only time that has happened to me, but, you know, realizing that basically any man over 5'6" could probably take me on. It's like, we actually do have to be careful. What a horrifying thought. So octopi will throw their penises at women, which is such a better means, in my opinion.
I think the other thing is, like, it's not just about how easily they can physically overpower you, because I am strong. I'm a very strong person. On paper, like, I could probably do well in fights with most blokes. But in that situation, it depends what your panic reaction is. Because there have been situations where I've just frozen. Like, I have no idea how to get out of this. And like, it's almost like a tactic to de-escalate the situation or to just make sure the situation doesn't get worse. You just sort of go like, okay, I just need to ride this out. Like, just let this.
Because what's worse? Being overtaken or being dead. And while you are strong, you might not be as strong as you think you are.
Yeah.
The realities of being human. Hooray.
Anyway, like...
You learn a lot talking to women about these things.
Comedy.
This is why, like, okay, we could be praying mantises where the women eat the men after sex.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
great,
that'd be great.
right? Sex and a snack. Best life.
Yeah.
I actually think it's quite good that the conversation went on to that, because I think it's still interesting. Like, it's given a rather awkward undertone now, as none of us have any idea of where to take it from here. But I think it's an interesting thing. Like,
Yeah, and it's one of the things that's like, so people talk about like evolutionary psychology in general as if like, well, what use is that?
yeah,
And it's
And
understanding.
like potentially you could find these things out about how men and women generally like understand and process the world without having evolutionary psychology as an insight. But things like these differences
yeah.
that put women in danger.
There's
Understanding
like-
that women's
Well, physical arousal,
Physical arousal
is not a
not an
yes.
indication. It's
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not
Like,
consent.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
defensive.
Yeah.
Well-
like, so, like, knowing that is a helpful thing to know.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
Do you know what
Yeah.
as well is, this is probably going to go sidetracked a little bit, but I often I really don't like when there are like, maybe it's just me, but I really don't like when there are like self-defense classes taught and it's 3 hours in a sports hall and you all do it against each other, because I think it gives people a false sense
The bike
of
helmet
the,
effect.
yeah, of the reality of the situation. And that if you, it's like, okay, so what you need to do is, if their hand is on their shoulder, you step back once, you pivot to the left-hand side, you twist the inside of their thumb and put it up into their brains. And it's like, that's not how these things
no,
work.
but it's also, if you think about when you're on an airplane,
Yeah.
they show you how to do and undo your belt.
Yeah.
The reason why they keep reminding you of that is like in an emergency, a lot of people, because they're more used to car seats, they'll start trying to get out of like the plane belt like it's a car seat.
But-
So going through that slowly and to the point where it's muscle memory, you're more likely to be able to engage with that behavior in a panic.
But you won't be able to do that within 3 hours. Like,
No, and that's the thing. So if we think about like military
So if
people,
it's like a one-off.
yeah.
Right,
so,
got you.
So the whole thing of like you know, self-defense classes that you go to once a week and that is taught by a professional, great, yeah, do it. But it's the whole like, okay, we're going to do this for 2 hours in a gym,
Right,
or
yeah,
something like
got you.
that, and it's like, and a lot of the times as well, the techniques are just so ineffective and rubbish and just pointless. I just think it just gives everybody a false sense of security. I mean, what you should do is, you know, far be it from me to sort of tell women what they should do if they ever feel threatened or anything like that. But what you should do is, if you ever feel threatened, if it is ever kicking off, you should find a friend and have lesbian sex with them, because it will distract everybody.
there we go.
And then you
I
can
could
run
see
away.
there's a moment where I was like, oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, you know where he's going. He's teeing it up, and we're there. We're there. That was the get out. That was the ejector seat.
Yeah.
There we go.
And just like that, a 10 subjects got back to laughter. Oh, thank goodness for that. What a relief that we all feel.
why I love sex.
And do you know what as well is, our producer Finn has just walked in,
Right.
had no idea of the background of that. And so it looks like I've said something horrendously
Like, do
inappropriate.
you ever think you're going to get assaulted? Just les up.
In my head, when you said les up, I sung it in my head to the theme of spam up. Spam up for the taste of it. Les up for the taste of it. Right, okay. This has been enlightening. Before we go, have you got anything that you would like to plug, Cat Ford?
So I'm part of the Merseyside Skeptic Society. We've started meeting up in person again, and we have monthly talks by interesting people. And you can find us on Facebook or Twitter. That's the Merseyside Skeptic Society. Also part of Skeptics in the Pub online, which we have interesting talks every other week. And we've got loads of them available on YouTube now as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I've been trying to get to Merseyside Skeptics or Skeptics in the Pub for a while, but it's just because they're in the evenings and I'm almost always out.
Yeah.
But I am definitely going to go to one. But if there's stuff on YouTube what we'll do is if you're watching this on YouTube, we'll put a link to it in the bottom so you can watch it, because I'm going to watch that shit as well, because I love the concept and the idea of it. Sweet. Merseyside skeptics in the pub. Anything else?
Yep. I think that's probably it. I mean, Merseyside Skeptics have also taken charge of The Skeptic magazine, which is the longest running magazine for skeptics.
Oh, I love the sound of that.
Yeah, also, it'll be articles written by experts.
Just £2,
again.
or is it?
No, it's everything Merseyside Skeptics do is free, including the podcasts that they put on.
Oh, really? Have they got a Patreon?
We do have a Patreon that I can't remember the name for. But so if people do want to throw money in there, we'll be very grateful, but you don't actually get any perks from it.
Really? Whereas with mine, I can remember the name and you do get perks.
Yeah, so you exploit people more than we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's all my plugs now.
With my amazing capitalist model that loses me hundreds of pounds a month at the moment. Dr. Jamie Benjamin, what do you want to plug?
I've got a children's book coming out, Johnny Von Honk, Goose Detective.
Oh, yes!
Yes. That's it. That's my plug. Sign up for
Jack Von Honk, Goose Detective.
Jack Von Honk.
That would have been perfect if you got the name right.
It would have been so. We were so close.
The editor wrote back in the time that we've been having this conversation. He's changed the name. It's not Jack, it's Johnny now. Sorry.
I prefer Jack.
Okay,
still.
we're going with a different editor then.
We're going with a different editor. It's non-negotiable.
Not budging on that.
No, non-negotiable. Look at who this editor thinks they are.
Jack Van Honk.
Yeah, Johnny Van Honk sounds like
Condom.
It's a condom for clowns. Yeah. It doubles up.
You can get a lot more in than it looks like.
Why's your condom got a giraffe at the end of it? Like balloon animal shit. Fucking hell. Right, and also as well, if you've enjoyed this, what's going to happen now is we have a break and then we record Pigoted Extra, which is a whole extra episode that you can watch if you are a Patreon, patreon.com/Pigoted. Becoming a Patreon costs £1 a week, £4 a month, and for that you get a literal shitload of extra free content from Pigoted and from myself. You also get access to the Discord servers. You get deals on merchandise. You get early release on the episodes. You get to be part of the community, live stream Q&A sessions, and we're adding more and more and more stuff all the time. The coolest thing about the Patreon is that you help support the podcast. The way I like to think of it is this: would you miss £1 a week going out of your account? No. Would you miss an episode if we didn't upload it next week? Yes. Well, if that's the case, then therefore sign up to the Patreon and help us to financially keep this going, because we really enjoy doing it and learning all about sex from animals. Sex with animals. Sex.
That is a different field of study. We'll get into that in the next episode.
Right. Okay. So, see you later. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Bye. This episode of Pigoted is sponsored by Taylor's Toys. Taylor's Toys are a sex toy company. They specialise in doing high-quality sex toys that won't fall apart after 1 or 2 uses. Head over to taylorstoys.co.uk, check out the amazing range that they've got on offer, and if you use the discount code PIGOTED at checkout, you get yourself 10% off on all products. Taylor's Toys. Spice things up in the bedroom. Thank me later.